My name is Gary Lambert, and I am the media coordinator at Champlain Valley Union High School, the president of the board of RETN, and a lifelong movie fan. I am thrilled and terrified to introduce this film, 1959's House on Haunted Hill. House on Haunted Hill is a 1959 American horror film directed by William Castle, written by Rob White, and starring Vincent Price as the eccentric millionaire Frederick Loewen. He and his fourth wife, Annabelle, have invited 5 people to a rented house for a haunted house party. Whoever stays in the house for one night will earn $10,000. As the night progresses, all the guests are locked inside the house with ghosts, murderers, and all the things that go bump in the night. The film was shot in September of 1958 for a December release with an estimated budget of $200,000. One of the things that makes this movie so special is that it was directed by William Castle. Castle is known for the imaginative gimmicks he created to help promote his movies. Alfred Hitchcock was actually a fan and used some of the same techniques in promoting his films. Famous Castle gimmicks include, for 1958's Macabre, he came up with the idea to give away a customer certificate for a $1,000 life insurance policy from Lloyd's of London in case they should die of fright during the film. He also stationed nurses in the lobbies with hearses parked outside the theater. The movie Macabre was a hit at the box office. In our film, House on Haunted Hill, he called his gimmick Emergo. A skeleton with red lighted eye sockets attached to wire floated over the audience in the final moments of some showings of the film to parallel the action on screen when a skeleton rises from a vat of acid. I know, doesn't every house have a vat of acid? One problem developed. As word spread about the skeleton, kids would come into the audience and start throwing things to knock the skeleton down, including candy boxes, soda cups, or any objects they had at hand. One of my favorite Castle gimmicks is the one for his film The Tingler in 1959, which was filmed in what he called Percepto. The title character is a creature that attaches itself to the human spinal cord. It's activated by fright and can only be destroyed by screaming. Castle purchased military surplus airplane wing deicers consisting of vibrating motors and had a crew travel from theater to theater, attaching them to the underside of some of the seats. In the finale, one of the creatures supposedly gets loose in the movie theater, and when the buzzers were activated, film star Vincent Price warned the audience to scream for your lives. Some sources have incorrectly said that the seats were wired to give electrical jolts. Filmmaker and Castle fan John Waters recounted in his book Spine Tingler how, as a youngster, he would search for a seat that had been wired in order to enjoy the full effect. One final gimmick that I love is the one for the movie Mr. Sardonicus in 1961. The audience would vote on the villain's fate in a punishment poll. During the film's climax, Castle himself appeared on screen to explain 2 options. Each member of the audience was given a card with a glow-in-the-dark thumb they could hold up or hold down to decide if Mr. Sardonicus would be cured or died. Supposedly, no audience ever chose mercy, so the alternate ending was never screened, although Castle claimed in his autobiography that the merciful version was shot and occasionally shown. One other cool aspect of this is in the drive-in version, drivers were asked to flash their car headlights to choose. But back to our House on Haunted Hill. Exterior shots of the house were filmed at the historic Frank Lloyd Wright-designed 1924 Ennis House in Los Feliz, California, and the bulk of the film was shot on sound stages. The theatrical trailer promoted the film as The House on Haunted Hill, although all advertising material and the title on the film itself was simply House on Haunted Hill. Thanks in part to Castle's gimmickry, the film was a huge success. Alfred Hitchcock took notice of the low-budget film's performance at the box office and set out to make his own low-budget horror film, which of course became the critically acclaimed hit Psycho in 1960. Castle was a Hitchcock fan and would try to imitate Hitchcock's work in later films, such as Homicidal in 1961. If you're an Agatha Christie fan, you may recognize story elements from her novel, And Then There Were None, aka 10 Little Indians, and the novel The Haunting of Hill House. Interestingly, the $10,000 offered to each of the guests in 1959 would be equal to about $80,000 in 2013 dollars. There was a remake released in 1999 that actually upped the total money offered to $1 million to survive the night. The film received critical acclaim. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film received a fresh 95% rating based on 22 reviews, with an average rating of 7 out of 10. AllMovie praised the film, writing, "Campy and creepy in equal measures, House on Haunted Hill deserves its status as a horror classic." So please, join me in spending the night in the House on Haunted Hill, if you dare.